Hi, today I want to do a comparison between Home Depot and B&Q. So we're going to start out here in the United States at a Home Depot. And the first thing I see as I pull up on a Home Depot is that it is large, which is not surprising. Americans upsize everything. Now it's interesting that it's called Home Depot. Depot is a French word. This is one word where Americans really insist on keeping that French pronunciation. It's not always the case. A lot of things are very similar. You know what? We're not even going to start out at the front door. We're going to take a quick look at the nursery. B&Q has a nursery as well. We'll get to that. But right now we're just looking at this Home Depot nursery. But as you can see, it's much larger than any B&Q that I have seen. You'll notice that the colors are very similar. That was one of the things that made me really excited about moving to the UK when I found B&Q. So we got the Christmas thing set up here with the Christmas theme, all of the trees. Let's go ahead and actually walk into the store via the nursery door. We're definitely in the middle of the holiday season. In the summertime, this will be covered in a lot of flowers. But here in the fall and the winter, right now in December, this is set up for Christmas with a lot of beautiful Christmas trees. So if you're British or you're in Europe, then you will know that this is very similar to what you will see in a B&Q, maybe just scaled down a little bit. Paving stones, fertilizers, very common to these big box stores. The Home Depots are all over the United States. There's probably 1,000 stores across the US. They're pretty much everywhere. Of course, Home Depot is a big box home goods store. The idea is that anything that you need for your home, you can purchase it here in Home Depot. You know, one of the things that I had to notice when I moved to the UK is that all of the washers and dryers are smaller. Here in the US, the washers and dryers tend to be much larger. They take up a lot more space. As you can see, they're much larger. The refrigerators in the United States are also much larger. Americans tend to upsize everything. When we first moved to the UK, we brought over one of our deep freezers with us, upright, and it wouldn't even fit into the home. If we stay in a very large home, but it wouldn't fit through the doors, we couldn't get it in, we had to set it outside in the garage. We've had to go back and purchase a UK-sized deep freeze, which is working for us just wonderfully. We actually don't need the large one. Let's move on through the Home Depot here. You can see ahead of me all the aisles with all the lights. This is one thing that America does exceedingly well, which is choice, endless choice, selection, variety. I don't know if you ever need this many types of options, but in the United States, they are here for you, for your choice, choosing and selection. I hope you're able to get a good understanding of the size of this store. This is a typical Home Depot size. They're all about this exact same size. Here's a section on doors. Literally anything that you should need or would need to set up in your home, you should be able to buy it or find it here in Home Depot. When I lived in the States, I spent a lot of time at Home Depot. At our home, we needed to repair a lot of things. I built a couple of chicken coops, and all of the lumber for those chicken coops came out of a Home Depot. A lot of boards here. They will also cut the boards for you. I'm not sure if this is available in B&Q, but if you come in with your dimensions, they will actually cut the boards to your dimensions and specifications, which I used to find that very helpful, that they would cut them. We'll check the B&Q and see if they have that same feature. As you can see, again, this is all just the different types of plywood. It extends all the way back that way. As you can see, this is a very large store, but this is also a very common size for Home Depot. Now, another thing that Home Depot has, when you get to one of the full-size stores like this, there's another whole aisle of boards, is that Home Depot also has a rental section where you're able to rent out tools that you may need to do yard work, to do masonry work, for home building and construction. A lot of professional construction workers use these tools, as well as the weekend warriors, which is just the normal guys who are working on the weekends. You come in, you rent what you need here. Saves you the trouble of buying it, especially if you're single use or only, periodic use. You can come in, rent these items for a few hours, and then take them back. Home Depot also has a rather robust rental section here. So that's a quick walkthrough of Home Depot, just so you can get a good idea of everything that this store has to offer. Gives you a good understanding of what Home Depot looks like before we get to B&Q. So that's a quick walkthrough of a ubiquitous Home Depot. They're everywhere across the United States, and again, you may notice some similarities with B&Q, which is coming up next. But that's Home Depot, a massive store with just about anything that you can want to build, make, and create related to your home. Again, I love the French pronunciation. Dépôt à domicile. Yeah, I think that's French, but Home Depot. There are other big box stores in the US, but this is the one that most reminds me of B&Q. And maybe it's just the color scheme, but it's also the store layout. So Up next, B&Q. Hi, I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm having a pretty good one. So when you're thinking about some differences between the US and the UK, of course, some of the things you notice that are quite different, such as putting milk in tea. Americans don't do that. But there are some things that are really, really similar. That's the case with Home Depot and B&Q, big box hardware stores. This place really makes me feel at home. All right, let's check it out. Now this is the largest B&Q that I could find in my general area. And you can see by comparison, it is a little smaller than the Home Depot that we went through, but this is still no small box store. Still a pretty good sized store. Notice the colors are pretty much the same as the Home Depot colors. That was one of the first things I noticed when I first came to this store the first time, the similarities and not the differences. All right, let's go ahead and give it a walkthrough and see what it looks like on the inside. Now, the Home Depot walkthrough happened right before Christmas. This is right after the holiday season. And you can see the spring plants are already out, but this is exactly what you would have at Home Depot at this time of year as well. You have the spring plants out here. Very similar to what you'd have at Home Depot, very the same layout. Very much the same. These big box stores, I guess, are pretty much the same the world over. If you're in a different country besides the US and the UK, you have these big box stores. Tell me, do you see the same thing in those stores as you see here? The lighting sections. Now here's a difference. You do not have things such as curtains and pillows in the Home Depot. They don't carry these specific type of home goods. It's more about building things, but you don't have as much on the side of decorating in the Home Depot. Paint mixing sections are the same. Since I'm in here, we're going to do a little bit of shopping. Got the glues. Same with the flooring. These are very active sections as well in Home Depot. You saw that in the video. Tool sections here. Now in the US, we have the whole aisle of faucets. And this is a pretty good selection of faucets, but it's nowhere near as comprehensive as what the US had just for the kitchen and sink faucets. Okay, here's a continuation of the faucets. They're broken out a little differently. So you get close to the same amount. Not quite as broad as a selection, but still a really good selection. And here's another area where you see a big difference. Although you see that there's a lot of shelving units here, and you do have some particle board and plywood here on this back wall, you don't have the extensive woodwork that you had at the Home Depot. You can buy some boards here, of course, just not as much as what you had there. The selection is just not as broad. Still a good selection, but just not quite as much as what you had in the Home Depot. Here we go, much larger woodworking section. This is what I was looking for. So the layout is a little bit different. The sections are broken a bit differently. But when you look at it, overall, you have pretty much the exact same thing in B&Q that you have at Home Depot. A couple of components are broken out differently, but a lot of similarities. Here's some more boards. So just like in Home Depot, you can get your wood cut to size here. So you see there are a lot of similarities between these two big box stores. It's as though someone picked up one model and copied it right over from one country right to the next. So one thing I don't see in the B&Q is the broad selection of refrigerators, stoves, washing machines, and dry machines. I'm gonna walk back through the store again. Maybe I missed them. They may be just tucked away on the aisle. Let me walk back through again and see if I see those items. And here from this angle, as we turn around here, you get a good feel for the size of the store. You can look down back this way, you can see the size of it. Really similar to the Home Depot. Home Depot is a little bit bigger, but again, this store extends past those doors all the way on the other end there. There are the doors, but there's another yard all the way down. So when you add that in, these stores are very comparable in size, shape, and composition. Very similar. Makes an American feel really at home. That's a quick walkthrough of the B&Q. You can see it's very much like the Home Depot. Some things are different, but some things are quite similar. UK versus US, in this case, I say more similarities and differences. The only thing I did notice that was different was that you didn't have the selection of refrigerators and washers, dryers, and things of that sort in the B&Q. I guess you get those at a different store, or maybe they carry them online but not in store. The Home Depot that we went through was really massive. Usual size for a Home Depot, but still really big. So that's another comparison, UK versus US. All right, guys, take care.